Who does he remind you of, Ichiro?
Ichiro reminds me of Ichiro.
4,000 career hits for Ichiro Suzuki.
And like, it was all the time. How we call it in the Dominican Republic, we say like hit machine.
209 pounds. The average MLB player is 6'2" and 209 pounds. Ichiro Suzuki is 5'11" and 175 pounds. Yet he played professional baseball for 28 years and will likely be the second player ever unanimously elected to the Hall of Fame. I'm the general manager of Batter's Box, and today, let's talk about how a skinny, unathletic kid became one of the greatest MLB players of all time. Ichiro was born in Japan on October 22nd, 1973. Although Ichiro was smaller and more uncoordinated than the average boy, Ichiro's dad figured that whatever he lacked in size, he could make up for through rigorous training. Ichiro went to the baseball field every day with his father. And just to be clear, when I say every day, I literally mean every day. Ichiro literally went to the field 365 days a year to throw 50 pitches, field 50 ground balls, and hit 250 pitches with his dad. I mean, I didn't need to do that back in my day because of how naturally talented I am. But Ichiro later admitted that the training bordered on child abuse and only allowed him 5 to 6 hours per year to play with friends. However, it did slowly mold him into a literal hitting machine that we would all later get to know and love.
And a ground ball back up the middle. He's the new all-time hit king in Major League history, #2. A huge load lifted off his shoulders as the pressure has mounted here incredibly in the last couple of weeks.
All of Ichiro's training had paid off because he enrolled in a high school with a prestigious baseball program and appeared to have a bright future ahead of him. At the end of high school, Ichiro was still very small at 5'9" and 120 pounds. Not like me with these bazookas on my arms. But somehow for Ichiro, it didn't matter because his junior and senior years, he hit .502 and only struck out 10 times in over 500 at-bats. For Ichiro, high school baseball was too easy, and it was time to sit for the Nippon Professional Baseball League draft. In 1991, Ichiro was drafted by the Orix Blue Wave in the 4th round. And just so you can appreciate how long ago that was, in 1991, the Dow Jones had just hit 3,000 for the first time. The World Wide Web was just launched to the public, and Dances with Wolves had just won Best Picture. You might think Ichiro's career took off immediately because of what you know of him now, but actually Ichiro's career began very slowly. In his first 2 seasons, he only played in about 40% of the games and didn't have a real chance to prove himself. See, the coach of the Orix Blue Wave saw Ichiro for what he was on the surface, which was a skinny kid with an incredibly awkward and non-conventional swing. And in a time before statistically driven moneyball decisions, Ichiro's value as a contact hitter was not obvious at all. If Ichiro wanted to make an impression to gain the starting spot on the team, he needed to do it in grand fashion. Ichiro started the 1994 season as the leadoff hitter, and he knew that it might be his only chance to prove himself, so he got to work. In 130 games that year, Ichiro batted .385 with 210 hits, a mark that broke the previous NPB hit record, and he also won the MVP.
Wow.
The 1994 season shot Ichiro's popularity and value into the stratosphere, and over the next 7 seasons in the NPB, he won a Gold Glove and the batting title each year, and also 3 MVPs. Ichiro was so popular that his batting stance, called the pendulum, was copied by thousands of Japanese children, and it was joked that more people would recognize Ichiro's face than even the Emperor of Japan. Ichiro was in his prime at this point, and to show you just how good he was, R&D at Batter's Box has built a time-traveling robot that can go back and interview 1994 Ichiro to get more information. Batbot, what's the inside scoop?
Hello, boss. I cannot find Ichiro anywhere, but I want to make it up to you with a funny joke. Why are some umpires fat? Because they always clean their plate. Ha ha. Ha ha. Ha ha.
Batbot, what the f? I'm calling you back later in the video, and you better be with Ichiro Suzuki. Anyways, by Ichiro's 9th NPB season in 2000, baseball had basically become too easy for him. He was easily hitting above .340 each season, routinely winning many of the league's most prestigious awards, and just straight up dominating all pitchers. Ichiro needed a challenge. Ichiro needed a new level of competition. Ichiro needed the MLB. This wouldn't be easy though, because switching from the NPB to the MLB was nearly impossible at the time due to certain regulations between the two organizations. However, there was light at the end of the tunnel, because in the year 2000, a posting system was created that allowed teams to receive compensation for players that switched to the MLB, basically opening the door for Ichiro to become a baseball pioneer. Batter's Box gave Ichiro a compelling offer, but he said we didn't have enough subscribers to join the team. So instead, he signed a 3-year, $14 million deal with the Mariners and packed his bags to go to Seattle. Ichiro's MLB career started very similarly to his NPB career. In spring training, Ichiro's teammates thought he was very skinny and believed there was no way Ichiro's talents could carry over into MLB success. In fact, one day during spring training batting practice, Ichiro was so focused on slapping everything to the opposite field instead of hitting for power, so much so that manager Lou Piniella went over to Ichiro and asked him, "Do you ever turn on the ball?" One of Ichiro's teammates was even quoted saying, "I think this guy might be overmatched." Ichiro responded by hitting 2 doubles and a homer in his first spring training game, and it was safe to say that nobody thought Ichiro was outmatched after that. On April 2nd, 2001, Ichiro made his MLB debut with the Mariners, and in his first 2 games, he went 2 for 9, a career batting average at the time of .222. Want to hear something insane? This marks the only moment during Ichiro's entire was the Rookie of the Month in April, May, June, August, and September, and would go on to win the 2001 Rookie of the Year, the batting title, a Gold Glove, the Silver Slugger Award, and MVP.
Wow.
It gets even crazier though.
Okay.
Ichiro had 242 hits in his rookie year, which was the most by a player in 71 years. Led the league in steals and plate appearances, and led the Mariners to a 116-win season, which is tied for the most in MLB history. Oh yeah, and did we mention that he was just a rookie? By the 2002 season, after only 1 year in the league, Ichiro was already one of the fan-favorite players in the MLB, and it is no surprise why. Ichiro played in an era of baseball where steroids and home runs reigned supreme, where I hit 74 home runs in the Batter's Box Company softball, yet simultaneously, there was Ichiro, easily slapping and bunting his way to 200 hit seasons in 2002 and 2003. Ichiro was unorthodox and weird, did the complete opposite of everyone else, and often didn't say the right things.
It's harder than 2 rats in a f***ing wolf sock. Huh?
But all of this is precisely what made him so special. However, even with Ichiro's early MLB success, there was no way for anyone to predict what he was about to do in 2004.
And a ground ball back up the middle, and there it is. He's a new all-time hit king in Major League history, number 258.
Ichiro broke the single-season hit record in 2004 with 262 hits, an accomplishment that is actually way more impressive than it even seems on the surface. Let's take a quick look in the history book, shall we? The top 10 single-season hit leaders range from 262 to 242. That's not what I want to point out here though. Look at the year where each of the top 10 seasons occurred. In order, 1920, 1930, 1929, 1925, 1922, 1930, 1911, and 1922. The only 2 seasons that occurred in this millennium were Ichiro in his rookie season and Ichiro in 2004. Ichiro continued to be a hit machine for many seasons to come, and he even had one of the most legendary All-Star Game moments of all time in 2007.
Ichiro hits it off the wall. It takes a weird carom, and Ichiro may circle the bases. Here comes Ichiro, inside the park home run.
The Mariners decided to give Ichiro a 5-year, $90 million contract extension, an extension that might have been a concern for other players due to age. But there's one thing about Ichiro we haven't really mentioned much yet. He is basically immune to aging. Ichiro at 33 might as well have been a normal player at 25. So what may have seemed as a bad signing for other players was a no-brainer for the legendary Ichiro. And it was safe to say that Mariners fans were happy about keeping him on the team.
Ichiro will go over to the barrier, lean in, and just come up a little bit shy.
My personal favorite moment from Ichiro on the Mariners was when he did this in 2009.
There's a drive. Deep right field. Going back switcher. Ichiro has beaten Mariano Rivera with a 2-run game-winning home run.
If you didn't catch who was on the mound, it was only the greatest closer of all time, Mariano Rivera. And by the way, that season Mo only blew 2 saves and let up only 6 other home runs. Alright, Batbot, I'm giving you one more chance. Can you grab 2009 Ichiro to hear what he had to say after that walk-off home run?
Will do, boss. I have Ichiro right here.
Oh my gosh, I'm alive. I can feel. I want to go be a real boy and do real things.
Jesus, get me Madison in recruiting. Madison, I can't take it anymore with Batbot. He's literally ruining the video. I need to fire him from Batter's Box.
Boss, how many times do we need to go over this? His dad is RoboCop. He is untouchable. You can't fire him. Anyways, I think the video is going pretty good.
Alright, if you're not gonna let me fire him, can you at least tell the viewers to subscribe or something?
Nope. Sorry. Bye!
Oh, you guys weren't supposed to hear that. Anyways, by the 2011 season, Ichiro finally showed us that he was human by getting only 184 hits. And nearing the end of his contract with the Mariners, it was time to shake things up. The Batter's Box Brawlers offered him a sweet deal again, but instead of accepting, during the 2012 season, Ichiro was traded to the Yankees. And after a legendary tenure with the Mariners, he was off to the Big Apple. Ichiro was in a new world. He had played with the Mariners for so long that an adjustment to a new team was really difficult. Nah, I'm just kidding. Ichiro picked up right where he left off, and even at 39 in 2013, he still managed to play 150 games and get 136 hits. And if you're thinking he probably wasn't a Gold Glove outfielder anymore as a brittle old man, then check this out.
Below the radar. Oh my goodness, David Ortiz trying to put that one in the top tank, into the corner and right. Ichiro runs it down at the wall.
Yeah, the man you just saw in that clip was 39. And guess what? He didn't even get injured. Ichiro got that John Wick dog in him. While a memorable time for New York, Ichiro's time with the Bombers was relatively short as he moved to Miami in 2015 to join the Marlins. Yeah, Ichiro may have been 41 when he joined the Marlins, but he was still such a specimen that the Mariners hitting coach was quoted saying, "Ichiro could win the home run derby now if he wanted to." I mean, who cares what that guy said though? He was probably just some washed up player who now chews bubblegum for a living, right? Oh never mind. Even if Ichiro could hit dingers in BP according to Bonds, his age was shown a lot during the Marlins games. Even though his body wasn't as efficient or looking as jacked as mine, his baseball mind was as sharp as it had ever been. Even if he was hitting in the mid 200s by this point, he's still impressed by throwing his first pitching outing of his career and acquiring his 3,000th MLB hit.
Ichiro to right and deep. Back goes Parra to the wall, and it's off the wall. 3,000 is in right field.
Getting 3,000 hits is an incredible accomplishment for any player. But Ichiro did it after starting his MLB career at 27. The next oldest rookie who made it to 3,000 hits, Wade Boggs at 23. That means that everyone else in the 3,000 club had at least a 4-year head start on Ichiro. And if you had all his hits from the NPB, which I will admit is not a perfect science, then Ichiro would have had 4,367 hits, topping the hit king himself, Pete Rose, by a little over 100. In 2018, Ichiro was 44, and in the tail end of his career, he decided to return where it all started with the Mariners. Ichiro only played 15 games in the 2018 season, but that was alright with the Mariners, and with Ichiro, because they both knew that his best baseball years were behind him. Instead, Ichiro helped to manage and train younger players on the team, a position that was mutually beneficial for them both. Ichiro may very well have continued with his player/manager position for a few years to come, but an opportunity presented itself that changed everything. Ichiro discovered that to start the 2019 season, the Mariners would not be playing their opening day game in Seattle, but instead in his home country of Japan. This gave Ichiro an opportunity that nobody in the history of sports had ever gotten, Ichiro could return to his home country and retire on top, surrounded by loyal NPB fans, Mariners fans, and his family. On March 21st, 2019, Ichiro played in his final MLB game and was met with a standing ovation for the ages.
It's enough to make a grown man cry.
I mean, how could you not be romantic about baseball with a movie ending like that? But if we look back throughout this subscription-worthy video, it's so easy to see that Ichiro's entire career was basically the story of a movie's main character. Just as Lou Piniella said in the intro to this video, Ichiro is just Ichiro. He does everything his own way, and he succeeds 100% of the time, which is precisely why all of us fans loved him. The fans aren't the only ones that love Ichiro though, because he's a favorite of many MLB players as well. In fact, Shohei Ohtani considered Ichiro to be a major role model, and was even seen bowing to Ichiro prior to a game. Stick with Batter's Box and watch our video on Shohei Ohtani called How a 1 in a Billion Child Became the GOAT to see why Ohtani might be an even better player to come from Japan than Ichiro.